This program was created 25 years ago, and it was a vision of a former assemblyman, Angelo del Toro. Angelo del Toro felt that the Hispanic community was not engaged in the political process. They didn't vote, they were just not engaged. And he believed that if the Latino population is going to have any voice, they need to be engaged in the political process. So he said, let's do a program as part of the adult conference. There's an adult conference called Somos el Futuro that occurs during the weekend of the Youth Institute. So he said, let's start training them early so they can get engaged in the political process.
I started this entire program last year, and to be honest, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I just knew that I was going to be out of school, which sounded cool to me. I was going to be with my friends, but going to that first training, I didn't know how amazing it was going to be. There were all these people that I've never met before. There were all these lessons and all these things that I never ever thought that I would have the opportunity to know back in my hometown. I'm learning about bills. I'm learning about how important the decisions made in this place is. Before, I used to not care about what went on in politics. But now, actually sitting here, I understand that every little decision that is made matters. It matters on the outside, it matters on the inside, wherever you are, and whatever social class you are, it matters.
I would say the easiest thing in the world is to do something for someone that you know. But the most noble thing is for you to do something for people that you really don't know. Politics is an exchange of ideas and finding a middle ground, negotiation, the art of negotiation. So the lessons involved in this debate are important for life as well, because in life that's what will happen. You will have to navigate the challenges and disagreements with other people.
I have learned so much, but most importantly, what I've gotten out of this is I've learned that society does not simply consist of just individuals. Rather, it expresses the sum of our interrelations and the way in which we treat each other and the way in which we all relate to one another. And I think that is an extremely important fact to learn.
Me, as a Latino, I know that I have to use my voice because it is my strongest asset. That I may be only one person, but one person is all it takes sometimes. And because of this entire program and what Angelo del Toro represents, I've realized that the opportunities are limitless. And this sounds really corny. I never thought that I would ever picture myself saying anything along these lines, but because of programs like this, I've realized that kids like me, people that have come from not nothing, because I've come from something. I may not come from money, but I come from values and lessons, things that actually matter.
It literally almost for me, I guess you could say it kind of threw gas on my political fire, that fury I had inside of me. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna start working hard to try to get involved in more politics, literally as much as I can possibly do, because it's kind of give me that kick boost that I needed, that, yes, that the speakers that we have and all that, yes, we may be young and yes, we may be kids, and we may be represented, but at the same time, we can we can move mountains if we wanted to.
Carry the burden, being the generation that is able to get it just a little bit easier. And not only do I dare you to be great in your own right, but I dare you to be great collectively, so that the next generation has it even easier than you and is able to attain even greater heights. Because that is the only way that the Latino issue or Latino community are going to be empowered.
The way we built that plan, live up to its ideal, is to do exactly what you're doing now. Learning about government. We are no longer on the outside, just march and say, sí se puede. We are on the inside, and we have to increase the numbers to become part of the infrastructure of government, because that, my friends, is the way that we make a change.
It's great to be part of this legacy of Angelo del Toro, because he was right. We need to engage the Hispanic community in the political process. Because although we have about 20% of the population, and we're expecting to be, the majority in the next 20 years, we don't have the representation in the Assembly, in the Senate, in positions of power.
Well, it means a lot to me, and honestly, it's incredible, and it's an amazing opportunity to be a part of it. And it's a celebration of my ancestral roots, where I come from, my heritage, where my parents came from, what they fought for. My mother is from the Bronx, the South Bronx, and she describes to me at least once a week how awful life was down there for immigrants, and how the Bronx was on fire, and how the rampant crime, rape, violence, and how people like Angelo del Toro, how they acknowledge this and they try to improve the lives of, and the socioeconomic lives of Latino immigrants and of everyone in this state and in this country. And to be a part of that legacy and to be able to participate in that legacy is incredible. It means the world to me. It really does.
This is my second year here, and my first year I was so inspired that I created my own sort of a community service thing that I do now, where in the summer I gather a couple of my friends and we donate clothing to our local church. And it was all because I took everything I learned and all the motivation and positivity from this program to have the ability to be able to create that small organization.
I'm just going to, with even more passion, for someone like me that's even hard to say, but with even more passion and more charisma, try to continue my advocacy and try to work even harder for these underrepresented groups. And I've learned through this whole experience, how to write legislative and how to write bills and how to submit them and how to get them passed. And I'm literally going to start working, trying to get on bill drafting teams and things like that. As much as I can, taking these skills exactly how we have done them and literally applying them into everyday life.
Like, I represent Hudson Valley, and I never said that with so much pride until this program. I always thought Rockland, the place where I'm from, is just this small town where, people just don't care, but this is a legacy.
After this, I have a completely new and educated view on different people, different cultures, the way I see individuals, the way that I can relate to people, the way to talk to people, and especially public speaking.
When we took the program over, we were receiving $10,000 in scholarships, and that was out of the 25 years, I think that was about 21 years we were receiving $10,000 for scholarships. Every year they have been raising it for the past about 4 or 5 years. And we're up to $37,000 in scholarships. So at the student recognition dinner, we gave out $37,000 in scholarships to students. It was amazing.
I've learned that where I'm going is just as important as where I'm from. And I'm gonna go to college next year, and I never thought that I would be able to say that. But because of programs like this, I'm gonna make the best that I got out of this one life. And I'm gonna advocate. Whatever I feel like is right, I'm gonna stand up for it. And although I may be the only person standing up for what I believe in, I know that I have to stand strong, because just like Angelo del Toro, he stood strong.
It makes me feel so fulfilled and proud of myself to know that I got the opportunity and the gift to be able to be a part of his vision of that creation that he wanted to see, which was Hispanic and Latino youths come together as one and be able to find solutions to many problems that exist with minorities.
I think that I have an entirely newfound respect for individual people, cultures, and our society as a whole.